Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
For over 50 years, Burlington's legacy has been great deals on coats for all weather conditions. So before you're caught unprepared for the winter weather, head to Burlington for name brands, quality items, and surprising fits for every family member. Stock up on coats, sweaters, and accessories before the cold hits, so you can finally stop avoiding the elements and start living comfortably. Warm up at your nearest Burlington location less than 1 mile away. Burlington. Deals, brands, wow.
Move your career further, faster in just 2 days with a Harvard Professional and Executive Development Program. Advance your leadership skills, craft smarter business strategies, build your network, and transform how you work and think to keep your career moving forward. You'll earn a certificate and can add Harvard to your resume with Harvard Professional and Executive Development. Learn more at professional.dce.harvard.edu/Spotify.
Welcome to Book Talk for Book Talk, a literary podcast where we have been deep diving into your favorite novels.
This is Jack.
And I'm Amy.
And our listeners love to share their thoughts and theories via email and voicemail, so we're sharing some of them via our weekly mini episodes.
The views expressed by the hosts and listeners are entirely their own and in no way represent the thoughts or intentions of the original author. This podcast is a discussion, shared to spark thought and conversation on the characters and themes of this novel.
Spoilers may be discussed with or without warning. Explicit language, as well as themes of sex, violence, abuse, death, and depression will recur throughout this podcast. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to Book Talk for Book Talk, a very special episode where we are live recording this? Yeah, why am I asking like a question? This is what we're doing.
This is why we don't do video recordings, because we edit all this crap out.
I know, and people are watching us too. Like not a lot, luckily, but it will grow. We kind of slid this in last minute. Be like, hey, want to watch us? Bye. So this is an actual episode. Also, Amy and I are not in the same state as one another.
Nope. I am in my mother's office in her condo right now.
In Arizona.
And you're in your bedroom.
And I am
in Arizona. Sorry.
in
Arizona.
Bedroom. There is the shelf that I hung. All of that is staying in me. Is staying in the episode. I'm not editing much to this episode, so we better get this right. And in theory, I'm publishing this tomorrow.
Okay, well then let's get started.
We didn't even explain what we're doing.
Jack and I have both read Iron Flame. We both have seen each other since reading Iron Flame. We have not talked about Iron Flame with each other. This is the first time we are allowing ourselves to talk about it.
The most we did was stare at one another, grunting in pain at, I want to talk about it. Don't talk to me. Don't tell me. So, and
that's exactly right.
I did put it out there to our listeners saying, hey, do you guys have any thoughts, theories, questions? And we got a lot of thoughts, theories, and questions. So we're going to do a part 2 to this. And in part 2, we'll talk about your thoughts, theories, and questions. And I'll bring in some of the TikToks I've seen. So this is just going to be episode 1, part 1, Amy and I having true thoughts and emotions. So
yes,
on our checklist, initial thoughts, go.
One of the first things I thought was like, damn, she is not withholding death. And I remember thinking, well, there is a lot of death in the first one, but I was shocked because I've read so much smut in between that I was like, oh, so much death. She's
not afraid to kill people off. Definitely that
which
initial
I appreciate.
scene. Yeah, I mean, the initial scene when the orange dragon was like, fuck you all, like just kind of like throwing everyone down was the most aggressive part where it was like, oh, and then she just killed an entire wing, like an entire section. It was like, and all those children died. Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, it might have been a while since you read Fourth Wing, so let me remind you how this is gonna go.
Fear me.
And just kill an entire wing.
Fear me. But that's also part of her vibe though, is to set up a death. Like, I mean, I think it's like part of it is like she's trying to show, hey, this is a really brutal area because we're going to see a different way, which we'll get into later. I'm calling them the summer court because when they went to, there was water.
Erasure?
Yeah, there was water involved. It was the summer court.
I think it's the middle of December. I think it's cold.
No, there was a pool.
Corbin or Corin or
Yeah, that one. Called. Yeah, it was the summer court.
Okay.
that was what was done. Yeah, like, I mean, they're trying to do the whole like discrepancy of like, here's the difference between the two areas. There's other ways of learning and becoming all dangerous and stuff.
Yeah. You're right. And they wear fancy clothing and it's made of silk that is so special, and it just reminds me of Feyre and her special clothing that was prepared for her for the summer court. So I get it.
I'm in special clothing too. I'm in a bodysuit. That's basically special clothing. I think for me, it was really hard because I feel like the initial reaction is, once again, we have a really fun book. I think it was a lot of fun. There were moments where I think I told you, like, before you read it, I was like, oh, watch out. There's like parts where I'm like, no, don't bring in this trope. Don't do that. I don't want the jealous ex-girlfriend trope. It's going to hurt my feelings. I can't last that long with it. And then we get through it and I don't have to suffer too long, luckily.
Yeah, I agree. Go ahead.
No.
Oh, I didn't know if you were continuing.
I'm like, we're on live on YouTube, so I was like, I guess I can't say that I would blank a bitch if for not Anne's like knocking on the door, barely clothed, trying to hit on my boyfriend. Like, I would have ended that way, way earlier.
She deserved violence in response to that action. And we're talking about Kat showing up barely clothed, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, in general, but yes, barely clothed. And I don't know. I think like Violet, in the first book, her nickname was Violence, and there was none of that from her this book, which I wish there was more from her.
I mean, there was some violence, but only when she did a good job controlling herself and trying to not be irrational. Right? So you have the jealous ex-girlfriend and you have the irrational girlfriend.
Yeah.
And Violet did tried really hard to not be that other trope, which I didn't mind.
Yeah. I mean, I guess this is kind of going into the second part, character development.
Wait.
Oh, no, sorry. Give me initial
Let's not do character.
Okay, good.
I still have more initial thoughts.
I'm sorry. My initial thoughts are so basic, but what are yours? What are...
I didn't need all the sex.
Said no Jack ever. Like
I mean, it was fine, but I wanted the plot more than I wanted the sex.
I enjoyed the sex, but why did I say it that way? I don't know. I enjoyed it, and I think I know what she was trying to do with it, where it's like, I don't want to use your body, and I don't want you to think I'm using your body for this. But at the same time, at the beginning of the book, it's like, okay, but I'm going to manipulate the fact that you want to sleep with me with the fact that I need you to say that you love me. And you know what I mean? So it's like, I know that's what Yarros was trying to do. Was the execution perfect? I don't know. It was, I mean, I've only read it once and that was just my initial like walkthrough, but I think I enjoyed the scenes. I think they could have been more purposeful.
Yeah, that is a fair point. I think maybe it felt cheap because it was at the end of the day withholding something that had already been shared. It's not like Mist and Fury with Sarah J. Maas, where Rhys was focused on Feyre's pleasure, but never went further than that. He never got anything out of it until they agreed to like be with each other.
Yeah.
So it does feel, I can see how it's probably what it is Xaden. That's the most sincere he knows how to be, but it still comes across as manipulative.
Yeah. I mean, and also it didn't feel like there was a variety of things, you know, and I don't want to keep comparing it to ACOTAR because I know that's what everyone's doing. So I was about to be like, screw it, I'm going to do it anyway. But no, like in general though, I feel like the sex scenes in book 1 and 2 have only had one speed. And that is, aggressive. This is life changing. I will never know anything better. I'm combusting. Pew pew. Right? Like that was like it just was like super high intensity every single time. And in other romantasy or fantasy or romance, whatever you want to call it, books, you kind of have different paces, right? Like, you know, it can always be good, but it doesn't have to be like we brought down an entire mountain type thing.
No, it's so true. And thinking back on the book, there are parts where Violet says, well, last night we had slow explorative sex, but right now it's just passion. Because we've already done the exploration. I'm like, wait, but maybe I want the exploration.
Right? And like, it just kind of shows, I mean, again, is it because we're trying to show that the relationship is volatile and that they're not super sturdy and this is all we're getting? If that is the point of it, sure. But I actually felt like it ended with the relationship being pretty solid in many ways.
Yeah.
You know, which I love the line of like, don't think I'm like at the end when, you know, Xaden was like, and it took you 1 minute to fall out of love with me. It's like, you whiny little bitch. There's a difference. And it's like,
I'm allowed to be mad.
Right. And it's like, don't think my love's so fickle. We're not done talking about this. Like it just felt like a couple things were too redundant, you know, like, especially the, like, I have a secret I haven't told you. What? And then it's, I have another secret I haven't told you. What? And then I have another secret. And it's like, you know, and each time Violet's like, I don't know how many times I can accept it. And it's like, me neither.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, I'm going to start rooting for her to leave him. Like, no, love shouldn't have to withstand so much shit.
No. And especially where, you know, his whole thing is like, be honest, talk to me, ask me the questions. And again, like, I get what she was trying to do, but it felt like it never quite landed for me, their communication and the use of sex, because like at the beginning, it's called her Farah. At the beginning, Violet was very like, I'm tired of saying that I love you first, so you're going to have to say it to me. And I'm mad, but it just, and like, she was trying to prove a point and none of it made sense. Like, it was like, it felt like she had this plot point in her head of where she wants them to go to. And the journey to get there didn't make sense to me. I felt like I was really reaching on trying to like piece together their logic and their like actions.
Yeah, I think for me it all hinges on Resin and Liam's death. And
who's Resin again?
It's the location where the last battle, I think that's what it was called, the last battle in Fourth Wing, where Liam dies.
Yeah.
And Violet almost dies. And so both of their mindsets have completely shifted, right? Xaden almost lost what he wanted, therefore he is now more vocal and more engaged, whereas Violet is less engaged. So was it a stretch? I think I don't think I struggled with it maybe as much as you did. I think I was okay with the mindsets. What I struggled with is how long the book is and how little ground they got with each other.
Yeah, with their relationship with one another. Like it was the same arguments over and over with a different bow on top. And I get it, they're supposed to be young. Like I think Taryn at one point was like, oh, to be in the mind of a 21-year-old, like kill me now type thing, where it's like, you know, like I get that where they're supposed to be young and all of that. But at the same time, if you want me to believe that these young adults are going to be in charge of a war, in charge and command of everything, then I need to believe that those young adults can have a grown-up conversation.
Right. They need to have the emotional maturity, not only for their relationship, but for everything else that they're doing.
And that's what it is. Like they have that maturity everywhere else except with each other.
Kind of. I still think Violet's too immature for everything that she manages to do.
Yeah. She was giving me Half-Blooded Prince vibes.
Oh,
Harry Potter. Yeah. Okay. Remember like after
she was giving me Order of the Phoenix vibes. I was at that point.
Okay, you're right. I got it wrong. It is Order of the Phoenix, like post Sirius dying And
Yes.
yeah, post Sirius dying, and then people being just like he had a lot to go through. He had a lot of emotions, just like Violet. She has a lot of emotions to like work through.
And she has a right to work through
No.
those.
Yeah, no, she does.
All right, so do you want to go into character development
I'm sorry,
then?
I cut you off. I apologize. Okay, I'm gonna read a quick comment because remember, guys, this is also being live streamed, and in the chat we have from Beatrice. It was pretty tough to get through the first half of the book with all the relationship drama. Also very frustrating that it took Ree having a decent reaction to the secret for V to understand.
Yeah, so because Ree wasn't an asshole about Violet keeping secrets, Violet was finally like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be an asshole about my boyfriend keeping secrets from me.
Yeah. I mean, and that's like again, I'm sure there's like the moment, it's the feeling like everyone knew but me, and feeling very hurt about that and not willing to like let that go. And she needed to be mad at someone, so she chose Xaden to be mad at.
Yeah, I agree with Beatrice. I feel like that moment between Violet and Ree should have happened halfway through part one, not towards the end of part
I would
one.
have told you so fast. So fast.
Well, I would have been understanding if you'd kept it to yourself for a little amount of time.
I would not understand at all if you'd kept it from me. No, you get 1 week to cope and then tell me.
It's more about, I mean, Violet's perspective is she's trying to keep other people safe.
Yeah.
That's why she's keeping the secret. I feel like so much important relationship development between the friends group, between Violet and Xaden could have happened had the Ree-Violet thing and secret reveal happened sooner. Violet made the connection because it's still it's a good moment.
Yeah.
But it should have happened sooner so that Violet could have had that epiphany and developed.
Yep.
And her relationship with Xaden could have developed.
Yeah. You tapped the desk.
So, I'm so sorry.
I know you're better than this because you know the pain we'd go through. It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
Keeping that in because people will hear it. So that we're recording over home. Okay, so let's go into character development. First on the dock, Violet, obviously.
What is there to say? How has she developed?
I think the jump between book 1 and 2 makes sense for me. She got really screwed up at the end of book 1. There's a lot of secrets. She's freaking out. Her spiral, I was on board with. I was like, you know what? Like, as much as some of it annoyed me and like some parts didn't completely land, the fact that she is spiraling made sense for me completely.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree.
But was she better at the end? I don't know. I did, because like, so when Yarros said that these were almost like 2 books, which it felt like it, right? Where
it did.
So like when you go into Violet part 2, I don't know if it was like a different book. Let's say it was like a 3rd book, right? The jump from Violet in part 1 into Violet part 2, I needed more of her coping through from being tortured rather than her mentioning it at the very, like when they're back at the school and being like, oh no, the dirt is triggering things. Like that's why like things like, again, I hate to compare it to ACOTAR, but like, I'm gonna, you have like Farah in book 2 so struggling of what she went through under the mountain. And I just really feel like she was tortured for like 5 days. I'm going to need more than morning sex to feel better about it.
Yeah, I agree with you. She spends more time mourning Liam's loss and making up for that. And we see the resolution of that in some ways when she saves Sawyer at the end of Iron Flame in part 2. But you're right, we get nothing from the torture other than the fact that I didn't break.
Yeah.
Xaden came to save me. Dane's now okay. Dane is now acceptable.
Woo! Party!
That's it. Like it's almost as if the interrogation, 5 days of interrogation, was justification to let Dane back in. Yeah. And that's the only purpose it served.
Well, Yarros said in one of her interviews that she knew Dane's storyline initially with the scene of the torture scene of knowing like that he would be there to help her, which like, yes, great. But this is where
Yeah.
character development comes in, and like actions have consequences, and you know, it just would, and I don't know if it's like, one of those things where you're like, oh, this is so much more complicated now, her character, like, it does change some of the actions that she might have done in the end, right? Like in the second half, some of her actions might have been not as reckless if she was scared, or
Yeah.
maybe more reckless if she was, scarred. But the choices that she made in the second half of the book I don't agree with, because it wasn't made by someone who was tortured for 5 days.
Right. And is still very fresh from that torture.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
I agree.
she woke up, got some dick, and was like, I'm fine. It's all better now. Like, I was about to, again,
Apparently
I can't say these things out loud. Normally, I would just tell you and then cut it out and then be like, I'll take this out. But okay. Sammy wrote, how quick that Dane character arc appeared had me confused. I thought that would have definitely taken more time to happen. Like the Dane being forgiven, or it's so funny. Like the second it started, like I was never convinced Dane was bad. I was never like, he's on the dark side. It was just like, I always was, I was shocked at the end of Fourth Wing, but when it started, I was like, and then we see Dane for the first time, I was like, he's a good guy. It's fine.
I wasn't as easily convinced, actually, of him being a good guy at the start of the first part, but I did believe his journey through the first part. I believed less from that moment to them translating work and work journal together.
Absolutely.
I didn't believe that part of it.
No, because then it's like, I'm willing to look at you, and Dane being like, I will take your scraps and accept anything. Like, Dane has a right of being upset too. You know what I mean? Like, his world was rocked. Violet completely cut him out for good reasons, but at the same time, like, she didn't give him a little bit of credit of saying something, right? Like, just an ounce.
Yeah. I feel I could see Dane. He's kind of like a puppy. Like, I could see him being okay with love crumbs.
Are you talking about Rowan?
My dog, yeah. What I'm less convinced by was Violet's willingness to work with him so fast. I feel like she would have been more stubborn and been like, no, I'm capable of doing this. I don't need your help.
Or maybe,
especially.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
It would have made more sense if like she did have that like kind of like holding on to him feeling, like gravitating, if we had accepted the torture scene and the fact that he saved her.
Exactly. That's I was thinking that same thing. Like, the relationship changes depending on whether or not Violet is processing the torture, and because she didn't process the torture and what Dane did for her, she should have been more stubborn about including him.
Yeah. But had she like thought about it once, it would have made sense. Okay, I'm going to do another read. I'm going to read through some of this. Definitely felt like two books. Oh, this is from Rose. It definitely felt like two books. I think Ree's character development was my fave. She's a great leader, friend, which built on her loyalty we saw from book one. I loved Ree.
I did too. You know what? It tells you that the best friend character, even if they're a side character, is usually the better character.
Always. There's a reason why they're not the main character. It's because they have a healthy brain and they're like a better person. Because they can't be the main character, because it's about like being dumb.
Yeah, making mistakes.
Let's see. This is from Beatrice. Wait, Randall commented after this. Hold on. So let's comment Beatrice and we'll come into Randall. Yeah, I think Dane's redemption arc was so quick that I'm wondering if it will lead to a future love triangle. Violet and Xaden have a lot of books to go through. I think Dane's gonna get with Kat.
Oh, interesting.
I feel like there was like clear setup for that.
Really?
In the sense that they both exist.
Okay. I like. Wait, is Imogen with someone? I can't remember.
Which one's Imogen again? Oh yeah. She's with someone. She would eat Dane alive.
Oh.
I think like Kat being with Dane kind of has like both of our exes got together vibe.
Yeah, but I don't like that trope.
Like we were getting good tropes in this book.
Okay.
Like, we were getting a lot of like tropes that I'm not a fan of here, but
Fair. Okay.
are you ready for Randall's comment? Which other people are responding, hard agree. So I haven't even read his comment.
Oh, Randall.
This comes from our friend, Randall. Dane feels like he's been a plot device too often to be a believable character. At most junctures in the story.
Absolutely. That's all he is.
Yeah.
I mean, as proven by the fact that he saves her from torture and helps her translate the journal, and there's no conflict despite other than don't touch my face.
Right? I mean, and then like everyone, it's like Dane's here, plot device, like, or like something's about to change, something's going to happen. Yeah. I mean, what about the fact that, you know, we're dealing a lot with Xaden's ex, you know what I mean? And even though Dane isn't an ex, she had a lot of feelings. There's still a lot of betrayal. There's still a lot of like stuff to work through. Give me some of that. Like, you know, again, I'm a pettier person than Violet, where it's like, oh, your ex showed up at our bedroom door again. Dane, want to go hang out? I mean, again, I not to make someone, I wouldn't do it in real life, but in my petty mind, that's what I would do. Is to go hang out with your ex.
Well, I feel like this is just support for your Dane and Kat theory, because honestly, they're both just plot devices.
Right? Let's put the plot devices together.
At least Kat is funny sometimes.
Yeah. I am happy that we got through the like Kat being evil part pretty quickly, because I'm just like, stop pitting women against each other. I can't.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm glad she didn't dwell. I mean, there was a lot of time spent on it, but I am appreciative of where we got to by the end of the book.
When they're like, Kat's coming home with us, I did have to pause it and walk away because I was just mad. Where I'm like, oh, so we're doing this now. I'm not happy about it. And the entire book, I couldn't exactly guess where it was going, but I was never surprised.
There were some parts where I felt like I saw it coming, and there are other parts where I was like, I didn't think of this exactly, but I'm not surprised.
And we'll get into that more when we talk about the ending, but like, I'm going to read a couple more comments and stuff, and then we'll get into Xaden, and then we can talk about his ending.
Fall has officially started here in Los Angeles, and that means we finally get to do fall activities.
I have been counting down the days for when I can go to pumpkin patches, maybe even hit up an apple orchard, and I get to do all of it looking super cute in my Quince boyfriend sweater.
This weather is perfect for my dark academia vibes, and I'm so excited to bust out my washable silk blouse because you know I'm going to be taking pictures.
Quince is known for their Mongolian cashmere sweaters from $50. And that's not all. Quince has so many other amazing things on their website.
All of those items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands.
That includes leather jackets, cotton cardigans, soft denim. Like my entire fall wardrobe is genuinely turning into Quince wardrobe.
By partnering directly with top factories and cutting out the cost of the middleman, we get savings as the customer.
One of my favorite parts about Quince is the fact that they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices. And they still manage to get premium fabrics and finishes for that, luxury feeling for every item that they have.
Get cozy in Quince's high-quality wardrobe essentials. Go to quince.com/booktalk for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/booktalk, BOOKTALK, to get free shipping and 365-day returns. That's quince.com/booktalk.
For over 50 years, Burlington's legacy has been great deals on coats for all weather conditions. So before you're caught unprepared for the winter weather, head to Burlington for name brands, quality items, and surprising fits for every family member. Stock up on coats, sweaters, and accessories before the cold hits. so you can finally stop avoiding the elements and start living comfortably. Warm up at your nearest Burlington location less than 1 mile away. Burlington. Deals, brands, wow.
Move your career further, faster in just 2 days with a Harvard Professional and Executive Development Program. Advance your leadership skills, craft smarter business strategies, build your network, and transform how you work and think to keep your career moving forward. You'll earn a certificate and can add Harvard to your resume with Harvard Professional and Executive Development. Learn more at professional.dce.harvard.edu/Spotify.
Kroger Delivery makes it easy to do your holiday shopping in a jingle. There might be a lot on your to-do list, but thanks to Kroger Delivery, you can get everything you need delivered straight to your door at the same great prices you'd find in store. Our refrigerated trucks always ensure that your groceries arrive fresh. And right now, you can save $20 on your first order of $75 or more and get free delivery with a Boost membership. Restrictions apply. See site for details. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Okay. Shayla was saying that she thinks Kat is going to go Venom. Interesting. Alexis is saying, I don't fully trust Mira. It seems a little too easy that she just joined the revolution. Oh, the sister. It seems easy, but with the writing style, it makes sense.
Was it too easy? Maybe. For me, part of it was just all of them uniting against their mother. That, to me, it was a more like, I'm not on Mom's side, so I'm definitely on your side, right? That's what it felt like more than anything.
I feel like Mira was a setup for book 3, where I think that Violet is going to step into the mother role. I think that Mira is going to be like drunk and a mess and everything. Brandon is going to be like a mess, and she's going to have to kind of like, and then Xaden's going to be going through his whole depression thing, and she's going to be busy trying to keep them all together. That it's like, nah, like I'm trying to channel my mother. Like I'm here, everyone's better, completely fine, and all that stuff. I think that's where Mira is going to come in. Dane and then this is from Sammy. Dane and Kat as a plot device is too accurate. I love it. Thank you. Beatrice, I'm so glad they are on decent terms. Kat reminds me a lot of Lysandra from Throne of Glass.
So I agree. I also think Sloane, Liam's younger sister, reminds me of Lysandra from Throne of Glass. Same sort of character arc where, why is my brain going away? Sloane hates Violet. We're introducing too many books. I'm mixing all the names up in my own brain. I apologize. Yeah. But I love where Sloane gets at the end and how much she's like, don't take the burden on you. You've already taken, my brother should not have put the burden of me on you. Like,
yeah.
It was really
I did really like Sloane. I'm convinced. I really think I want like another version of this book through Sloane's perspective, and she gets together with the prince guy.
I agree.
Right? I was like, that's happening, right? Like we're gonna get a spin-off or something. Right. Like I want that to happen completely. I want to see what her year was like, coming to terms with Violet, reading those letters. Like I was almost like, there were parts where I'm like, I think Sloane's story is actually more interesting, of like falling in love with a prince. Does she know he's the prince? I agree.
And I wanted more of those letters.
Yeah.
I wanted more of Liam through the letters.
Yeah. Okay. So before we get into the second signet and everything, let's go into our favorite shadow daddy. That is Xaden. And before we get into his storyline, I would like to revisit one of his quotes. Very meaningful quote that I think about a lot. My house, my chair, my woman. So,
What? I thought of you when he said that too.
Yay? Yeah, that's on brand. That's good. You're probably like, Jack probably enjoyed this.
Yeah, exactly.
So Xaden, let's talk about his character development. Did he have one? Is he a character? Is he developed?
I mean, I don't feel like he developed that much. right? So it took until partway through book 2 for Violet to get mad and say, I'm not asking you questions anymore. You're just going to give me the information instead of making me work for it, which she was right to do. I get mad that it took her that long. I don't know that he had character development. He kept withholding secrets. And then at the end, we find out that he knows this sage, and the sage came for him, which means
another
it's just
secret.
another secret he has been keeping.
Secret. I was so mad at that.
He deserved to turn to Venom. Like, I just don't care.
Can we disagree? I'm like, Venom, I'm just calling them fancy vampires in my head. Like, he turned Venom, just like they're just glorified vampires. Like,
oh, I guess that's true. To me, they're like zombies, but not brainless, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But so, okay, one can argue that we didn't see much of a character development from him because this is all from Violet's point of view. So we don't know what his thought process was. We don't know anything. Although evidence shows he is a stupid boy who doesn't share a damn thing after swearing up and down, you just learned my biggest secret. You found out that I can read people's intentions. Ooh, I'll never lie to you again. So there's other thing. Now, a caveat to that is, did Xaden and Violet just have the same dream? Because he could have been like, I'm just throwing out.
Okay.
Amy's shaking her head aggressively at me. It's just like, okay, if it was he's here for me, it's the same reaction that Violet had. He's here for me. So it doesn't necessarily mean that, he knows him personally, because that would be like, if he did know him, that's a secret to share. So either he didn't share another fucking secret and he just doesn't know anything, or he also felt like Violet, where it's like, this is a dream. Why would I talk about that?
Yes. So I think this is maybe one of the things that I thought Yarros did well is, so Violet's been having these dreams where she sees the face of the sage, having never seen the face of the sage before, but because of based on what he's saying, she knows it's the sage. And at one of the points when Xaden is eating her out, and no, it's when they're having sex after he's eaten her out. I apologize, but it's on the throne. The sex is so intense that she's starting
to go in his mind.
And then at the end, we learn, he knows the person. It's a face he's encountered before because of his last point of view, that we know he knows this sage guy.
So you're thinking she's been going into his dreams and stuff. Okay, I thought of that. Caveat to caveat. There's other times when other Venons saw Violet on her own, and they said, he's been looking for you. He'll be excited when I bring him to you.
Right.
So it could be that, like, that's, I understand the, like, her being in his dream. I thought that too. But because there's been moments without Xaden that she has been told, he's looking for you. I need to bring him to you. I'll be rewarded when I bring, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if is it like, had they just had sex the night before? Does she smell like him?
Well, now we're introducing a smell factor to these fancy vampires. Like,
I don't know. I'm just coming up with random reasons.
So when it comes to that main end moment, right? Xaden is Venom. I was not. I just was like, yeah, okay. Like,
yeah.
I also feel like nothing's really at stake here because they haven't properly defined Venom for me. Where it's like Jack fucking Barlow, as he's now known, saved her life, saved Violet's life. Like, he smiled. He was totally in control of his own faculties. I think that, like, like, I'm just kind of like, so what? Is this like do you slowly descend into madness situation? Like, I don't know. I feel like none of it's been truly defined on what's wrong with being a Venom, because, like.
Yeah. So my impression is you become Venom because you take more power than you're allowed to, or that is like allotted to you, right? And then you constantly crave power. So it's
an addiction.
I mean, it really
like,
does.
It's symbolism for, like, being some kind of addiction. which again,
Yeah.
I think because like
Vampire.
But it kind of goes into like, okay, people struggle with addiction every day and they can live with it. So I feel like if there's anyone I could believe to handle it, it would be Xaden. You know what I mean? Like
Xaden.
it's
Right.
like, and again, not that I don't want to like dismiss addiction and people like, you know, coping with alcoholism or drug abuse. But if you're trying to give me a life or death at stake situation, and the whole thing comes down to he craves it, I'm just like,
Yeah. I have nothing intelligent to say other than okay.
Let's see what some of our listeners are saying. Beatrice says, I was so mad when Xaden told her he would only give her answers if specified, if like she asked specifically. Does my ass look big in this? Answer that. Riddle me this. I would have used that so much. I would have turned it into the most annoying person with that. So you want me to ask it?
He would have broken so fast.
I would break Xaden so quickly with that. Like just I'm trying to think what would be like the first question. It's like I will only ask things.
You're only allowed to ask things about him.
Yeah.
That he's willing to
And he
answer.
has to be absolutely honest. Have you ever thought about your mom naked in a dream? Have you accidentally had a sex dream of your mom? Honestly answer that. Where you woke up absolutely disturbed out of your mind that you just imagined your mother in that situation. Answer me that, Xaden.
Were you rock hard,
Xaden? Answer me this. Like, just like I would just go. I would go deep into it and make him feel very uncomfortable. Let's see. Literally, such a red flag of Xaden being like, "You have to ask right now." Like, no, sir. Yeah. Also, ask then too. You know, like it's a red flag, but like, you know, use asking as a weapon.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the problem with Violet in book 2 is that she doesn't weaponize the things that she could weaponize the way she weaponized everything that she had the ability to in book 1.
I just would like to see more manipulative female characters. Where's my representation? So there's this like new thing I've done on like I've only done this like with one guy on a dating app, but it was like pretty early. I'm like, so what's the thing that you would normally never tell a girl this early on? What's the thing that you would wait? Tell me now.
Oh my gosh.
He did. Yeah. It was like, but like it was just kind of.
And did you stop talking to him right away?
I did not. I didn't. Okay, let's see. Over here, Colleen says, I think the sage wants both of them. Like a 3-way. Yeah, you're right. It's probably his dad.
I thought so too.
Yeah. It's like his dad, or you know what? It's going to be his uncle, and then his mom's going to be Venom. Like, again, and I'm saying this in such a like, yeah.
I did until they confirmed that the sage was male. I was like, it could be his mom.
Yeah.
Right. She's got to come back into the picture if he hasn't seen her.
And she's going to, So, and again, I just, you're either, and I know this, I'm doing such a like broad strokes, but it's like the mom's either going to be super helpful last resort or Queen Evil Venom.
Right. Or dead.
Yeah. A lot of people, so next week is going to be the theories episode. We're going to do more like TikTok theories, but some people are theorizing that Violet's dad is Venom or Violet herself is Venom. Too. Because we know that her mother was sick when she had Violet. She has cool highlights in her hair. She has silver in her hair, which we know comes into play. Like, I'm not going to be surprised. Excuse me. I'm going to adjust my seat. I'm not going to be surprised when we find out that Violet has like something to do with being Venom or related to Venom directly.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either.
I was underwhelmed. This is from Beatrice. I was underwhelmed, honestly, especially since it seems like they're still sleeping together after she finds out he's Venom. Yeah, I kind of, that was like one thing I was okay with, where it's like, I can't go through this again of like, oh no, I'm mad at you, or like, what happens? Like, I mean, she can't really be mad, but it's definitely going to, like, I'm happy that it's like, okay, we're going to start the next book and they're still together. I think I definitely see one of the things that he's struggling with is like, Violet and him both had an opportunity to turn, right? Like Violet almost turned, and the only reason why she didn't is that her mom kicked her in the face or something. Like, it was like her mom like drop kicked her away from turning and was like, not today. That's the only reason why she didn't turn. But I know Xaden's going to carry it at like, you were stronger than me. I wasn't able to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's going to be a martyr. He's going to, yeah.
Yeah, and then he's going to turn fully bad. And then it's like, but even then, he's still kind of good. So cynical.
And then it's only love that saves him.
Or,
and then he dies.
God willing. No, no, I'd be pissed. Like, we're saying this with such sarcasm, but at the same time, it's like I enjoyed this book thoroughly. It just didn't have the twists and turns that, like, could I guess it immediately? No, but was I surprised when it happened? Not particularly.
No.
I also feel like it didn't have the same, like, when Brennan turned out to be alive in book 1, I could definitely feel the, like, oh, okay, that's really going to change everything. Right? Xaden being Venom, I'm like, no, they're going to find the cure, obviously.
Right. Yeah. I agree. It doesn't have the same oomph factor as Brennan being alive. I mean, not that, like, Brennan being alive was really pivotal. Was it? I don't know. It felt important.
Yeah,
though.
well, I mean, it was like, I think we realized that it was more of a revolution rather than the secret community type thing. Like, we were building up to it, and then it was like, whoa, this is more important than anything else. Beatrice says, I like to ask him if he would love me if I was a worm. You just keep saying that over and over. If I was a worm, do you think I would look pretty right now? That's what I would do. Be like, do I look pretty now? What about now? Do you actually mean it? And then the one time he says no, I'll be really hurt and walk away. And then he'll regret everything. Okay, Colleen says, so has Xaden been Venom or he turned Venom during the last battle? I think he's turned Venom. Like, if you look at some of the clues, the guy who tried to kill Violet and ended up killing her friend instead, which was like a fantastic scene. That one got me. I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. He straight up just killed her. That was all excited. But if you notice that she describes that character as having red eyes, like he's drugged out. So any clues of people who were Venom are definitely, like, it's there.
Yeah, it is there.
And then Colleen also says, towards the end, I thought it'd be one of them, Xaden or Violet, turning Venom. Yeah, absolutely. Same. Yeah. It was bound to happen.
It was.
Okay. We're gonna wrap up a couple things before we wrap up. Let's talk dragons.
I totally predicted Andarna.
Yeah. Well, how when you say predicted Andarna, to what degree?
That she was a different type of dragon compared to everybody else.
How early did you?
Not that she. Oh, the very first time Violet described it as her black scales had a slight green sheen, and I'm like, oh, she can change color, or she's got different attributes that she's not really black, or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, as soon as that clue dropped, I was like, oh,
yeah.
She's something different.
Yeah, I knew she was something different. I wasn't expecting the 7th dragon breed. Mainly because they hadn't told us 7. Like, there was like that, Yarros does a really good job at planting seeds. Like, I know we've been harping on her on a lot of stuff. Will she ever join the podcast now? Probably not. But I think she did a really good job. Like, when she plants the seeds, they're totally there. And I think that the reason why she didn't do the whole, like, this actually means 7, not 6, or wind or something like that, is because we would have guessed it too early. But she left those other clues, like turning different colors. Terran, sassier than ever, hilarious. I will never not have enough Terran. Like, I just want his commentary all day.
Yeah. I appreciated that he got mad at his own mate for the secrets she and Xaden kept. So I appreciated that. Yeah, he's just a good soul. I just really like
Apparently,
him.
Yarros says that's based off of the bulldog she used to have.
Oh. So
cute. He does give grumpy dog vibes.
If I based a dragon off of my dog, he would just sleep all the time.
He'd sleep all the time, but then, like, be overly excited to see you. I'm just imagining the longest dragon, like, smacking everyone. Let's see. The scales were a big clue. I'm glad about it, though. It was a fun twist. It was a very fun twist.
Yeah. I think it was the funnest twist out of all the twists.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I was trying to read this one comment, but the K behind Jack was hidden for whatever reason. I thought they were talking about me. So I was like, excuse me. One of my friends was able to guess Jack being Venom months ago due to some hints in the first book. Oh, so we think he was Venom from book 1.
Interesting. That makes sense because he was dead up until a certain point,
right?
And he had to have been Venom while he was being healed, which is why Nolan was tired all the time.
Yeah. No,
so,
yeah, no, that's great. I love it. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I feel like the second book kind of comes into, like, there's going to be a lot of like, well, of course this is going to happen, and we can talk, I don't know, before we wrap up, before we get into theories, which we'll do next week, but what are some of the obvious things, quote unquote obvious things, that you think is going to happen in the next book? So like I was saying, Violet's going to step into her mother role. That's going to be her way of grieving, is becoming her mother in a certain way, because she saw her mom do the ultimate sacrifice. So she's going to be the only one who like really saw like what her mother was willing to do for them. Brennan is going to be absolutely horrified because he was never there for his mom. So, I think he might be like, throwing himself more into work or something, but like obviously in denial, and she's going to help him. I think Mira is going to be the one to truly spiral and not want to talk to anyone, and probably be more reckless. And then I think Zayden's going to be super depressed and Violet's going to be busy trying to take care of everyone and then slowly fall apart.
I think that Xaden is either going to be healed or be the only person capable of living with Venom and not acting like a Venom for the rest of his days. I would much rather Violet have to kill him at the end of the next book, but one can only wish.
Whatever will be, will be.
I actually think that Brayden is going to be the one to be the more obvious spiral that Violet's going to have to tend to, and in the process ignoring Mira, because Mira's been more obviously the soldier recently. Yeah. So Mira, I do think will spiral, but it will be less hidden, and I think she will get herself into trouble. I bet she dies in book 3.
I would love a sibling to die. I'm not going to lie. I want, and I think...
I bet both of them die.
Whoa. Yarros would. Yarros would.
Yeah. Mira dies from reckless behavior and gets, and then battle and then dies. Brayden probably sacrifices himself the way his mother did.
Brayden probably sacrifices himself for Xaden to be non-Venom.
Ooh, I see it.
Right?
I can see it. Yeah. That could be the cure because he's a mender.
Yeah. I mean, it makes... So what do you think the second signet is? Violet's second signet.
I don't know the answer.
Well, neither of us know the answer to that.
No, I'm just... Yeah, it's got to be something that's really convenient for everybody else.
Yeah.
For this story.
So I think the moment where Violet is going through all of Xaden's, when she was trying to guess his second signet, and she's like, okay, well, you need this, and this is why it matters to you. So there's like a direct correlation there. And so I was like, okay, well, it makes sense that her first signet, they made it very clear it's just power, and it's being, like, and it's manifesting as lightning, probably because of all the mommy issues that she has. It's lightning from a storm. So what are the things that she wants to have? She wants knowledge. People think that she might be an amplifier.
Yeah, that's so something that they kept saying in this book is you have the mind of a scribe, but the heart of a writer.
Yeah.
Right. And if we correlate being a writer with her mother and therefore her lightning power with her mother, the second power, I think, would correlate with her mind and Darna says it as well.
Yeah.
At the end of the book. So it has to do with her mind. And what does she need more than anything else? She needs the truth because nobody fucking tells her the truth. I bet she ends up as some version of intrinsic.
She might be the full-blown intrinsic.
Yeah.
But I agree, she would be a form.
Because she starts going into Xaden's mind.
Yeah.
and his dreams.
Well,
so yeah, she's got to be some version of intrinsic.
Yarros said that there's like, once you go back and you read it and you know what it is, there's tons of clues and that it's already manifested. We just don't know. So being full on intrinsic may not be the case, because I think that you would know.
Right,
so that means
right.
it would be definitely it was Heather saying that she thinks that it's dream walking because of the nightmares she experienced, but it turns out actually Zayden's. We talked about that a little bit earlier, and we think, and I feel like I feel like I did a great job at disproving it, but only you guys can tell us. But I could be wrong for all of it. So yeah, I mean, it must be subtle enough that it's not like full on intrinsic, but it's clearly helping her in some regard. I mean, there's like the obvious talking to the dead thing. I don't think that that's going to be the case because, you know, well, I mean, was Liam truly a hallucination, or was Liam actually there?
I think Liam was actually there.
I do too.
I think he was really there.
Yeah, I think he was really there. I mean, I know a lot of people are dismissing the talking to the dead as a second signet hardcore, but I feel like we should dismiss that.
I don't know that is her second signet. I think it is what it is, when, you know, because Liam said it's basically a gift from Malik.
Oh,
I think she's got the gods on her side.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
She prays to the gods a lot.
Yeah.
So, and Darna's been waiting for her for 650 years. Like, I feel like it's got to do something with the gods.
She is a god.
And being in the favor of the gods.
Yeah.
Or... I don't know about dream walking, but I think it's... So the way that Zayden can sense intentions, I feel like she can sense heightened emotions from folks. Because if she was truly in Zayden's dreams, she would sense his fear and anxiety.
Yeah.
You know, during sex, she sensed his passion. So there's
something.
When he was in pain,
but I also...
when she opened up the signet.
But I'm also like... she could have been in his mind because they already have mind powers. You know what I mean? Like, they already are in each other's minds. So when I first heard that, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like, they're in each other's minds all the time. He just let his walls down.
Yeah, that's also true.
So, okay. So on that note, I know there's more comments in the chat. Sorry that I'm not reading them all, but, you know, Amy and I have things. So, but we'll next time we'll come back and we'll talk theories and comments.
And we're doing this again next week.
Yeah, we'll do this again. So we'll fit it in somehow. Maybe next Monday also.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Cool. We'll make it a Trophy Wives thing, maybe. Because
yeah. We'll see you guys next Monday.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this mini episode of Book Talk for Book Talk. We encourage you to rate and subscribe to our show on your preferred podcast listening platform.
We would love to hear your thoughts based on today's conversation. You can submit your comments to our form at booktalkforbooktalk.com or via our Camflare voicemail system. Please visit booktalkforbooktalk.com for more information.
You can also follow us on TikTok or Instagram at the handle Book Talk for Book Talk. Bye!
Fall has officially started here in Los Angeles, and that means we finally get to do fall activities.
I have been counting down the days for when I can go to pumpkin patches, maybe even hit up an apple orchard, and I get to do all of it looking super cute in my Quince boyfriend sweater.
This weather is perfect for my dark academia vibes, and I'm so excited to bust out my washable silk blouse because you know I'm going to be taking pictures.
Quince is known for their Mongolian cashmere sweaters from $50. And that's not all. Quince has so many other amazing things on their website.
All of those items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands.
That includes leather jackets, cotton cardigans, soft denim. Like, my entire fall wardrobe is genuinely turning into Quince wardrobe.
By partnering directly with top factories and cutting out the cost of the middleman, we get savings as the customer.
One of my favorite parts about Quince is the fact that they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices. And they still manage to get premium fabrics and finishes for that, luxury feeling for every item that they have.
Get cozy in Quince's high-quality wardrobe essentials. Go to quince.com/booktalk for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/booktalk, BOOKTALK, to get free shipping and 365-day returns. That's quince.com/booktalk.